This is the epitome of a revolving door. I talk to people about the bail system and they go, well, what do you mean they let hardcore drug dealers out that have guns on them?
Constable Aaron Crawford. We've been wanting to talk to him since we got here. And just before we need to head back, he gets the green light to go on camera. How do you describe what's happening here right now in Belleville?
I would say that this is the crux of poor policy and poor decision all come to a head all at the same time. You have a legal system that's incredibly soft on crime and on criminals. You have a mental health system that's, quite frankly, failing tax-paying and non-tax-paying citizens here in Ontario. And things are kind of at their breaking point. This is the result. You have people that are unmedicated, unwell, and they're medicating themselves with drugs on the street. Fentanyl, they're using fentanyl because they don't want to feel anymore. They're defeated.
He tells us he's been watching things go from bad to worse, knows most people by name, either because he's tried to save them or because he's arrested them over and over again.
I mean, if I charge someone for theft or mischief, they go to the courthouse, they get released because they're trying to fund their addiction. If I take them to the hospital, they don't get held because they're in a drug-induced psychosis. It just seems that there's just nowhere for these people to go.
We ask him about those concerns that the residents brought up, about the thefts, the break-ins, the vandalism.
It's either I bring them to court, get them charged or charge them, and they're not held accountable for the criminal act that they're doing. And again, I think it's because of out of reasons of compassion. But then they're also not being institutionalized. I could introduce you to a couple people probably at 60 Bridge who would ramble on and make no sense, would not be able to have a full-fledged conversation like you or I are having right now. And that's because of their mental health issues. And for me not to be able to bring someone to a place that can actually look after that person, because right now, that type of a person cannot look after themselves and they are being left on the street. That is frustrating.
Picking up the same people for the same crimes day after day. He says he tries to get them help instead of laying charges, but there is no help anywhere. So after a few arrests,
eventually it comes to a head where we're charging people for the crimes that they're committing, smashing windows, thefts, all the things that probably you're hearing are affecting the downtown area. And we're sending them to the courts, and the courts are essentially saying this person may be doing these things because they're in the midst of a mental health crisis. And that would bring us to our bail system. So our bail system, people are getting released left, right, and center for the same crimes over and over and over again.
Has the system failed you, your city?
I think that the system's failed a lot of communities, not just Belleville. Just look at the last 2 weeks. I mean, we're talking about people dying in dumpsters. We're talking about people that are dying on the front of a sidewalk that they've been released to. I just shake my head at people who, I just shake my head and kind of go, why, how do the people that are in charge not see that they're the ones causing some of